Xiaomi have just released a new phone, the Redmi Note 7. Now this is an interesting phone, mainly because here in China the price is under 1,000 RMB. So the Redmi, which is now a sub-brand of Xiaomi, is going to be coming on here in China for 999 RMB. That works out at around 150 US dollars. So what are you getting for this really budget price tag? They're giving you a 48 megapixel dual camera on the back. Now this looks to me like it's the same camera used in the V20 from Honor and the new Nova 4. This is a Sony sensor, and as you can see, Xiaomi have been championing how good it will be in low light. How can a camera with so many pixels be good in low light? Xiaomi say they use pixel binning technology. They can turn that 48 megapixels into fewer, larger pixels to give you a really effective night mode. They also put a 5 megapixel camera on the back there to help out the main camera and give you a 13 megapixel selfie camera on the front. It remains to be seen how well the processor in this thing deals with those images. They're giving you a Snapdragon 660. Now this is a budget phone, but you're getting some really good specs on here. A really high megapixel camera. The Snapdragon 660 is a decent performer for the price. For a budget phone, I think these specs are bordering on mid-range territory. You got a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, will go down well in a lot of markets. A USB-C port. Thank goodness, they've done away with the micro USB. The difference in cost between micro USB and USB-C is nominal, so it's about time that these budget phones get that connector. Even though they moved to USB-C, you'll be glad to know that they have kept the headphone jack. It comes with 3 GB of RAM, 32 gigs of storage. That's the cheaper version at 999 RMB. You can also opt for 4 gigs of RAM with 64 gigs of storage for 1199. The budget territory has a lot of competition. Specs are getting higher. Phones are getting better, but keeping their low price tag. I think the Redmi Note 7 just released today in China just shows how these cheap phones have a lot of competition and they're getting better and better. On that note, we also have to discuss rumours of Samsung's new budget phone, the M10. Samsung are going to launch this phone in India first. In any case, it marks a little bit of a change, a little bit of a mix-up for Samsung. The M10 will have that V-shaped cutout for the selfie camera on the front. Rumoured to have a 5.5 to 6 inch display, LCD, not AMOLED. I guess Samsung are dropping the AMOLED screen to make it a little bit cheaper. The M10 rumoured to have about a 3,500 milliamp hour battery. The M10 will also come with 3 gigs of RAM, putting it on par with the Redmi Note 7. Fingerprint sensor on the back, 13 megapixel camera there. The M20 also rumoured might add another 5 megapixel camera to make it a dual camera setup for the M20. Obviously the M20 will be more expensive than the M10. We don't know for sure yet, but the M20, possibly the M30, released later, will have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. That is absolutely enormous. One of the biggest batteries I've seen on any phone, let alone a budget phone. This thing is rumored to come in at around about 150 US dollars. This puts it toe to toe with the new Redmi Note 7 announced just today here in China. The M10, M20, possibly M30 later will all feature Samsung's own chips. Obviously the Redmi Note 7 is carrying a Snapdragon. So as far as I can see, the Redmi Note 7 is going to go toe to toe with the M10, M20 from Samsung. They're both coming in at around the same price, 150 US dollars. Both launched at about the same time and both carry pretty impressive specs in certain areas. So which one would you prefer? Which one would you buy? Would you go for the 48 megapixel camera in the Redmi Note 7? Or do you think Samsung are quite capable of making a very good budget device? Maybe you want a bigger battery. Time will tell which one is more popular. and how they will go down in different markets.